adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. Starring that jetty Jerry O'Lace, Rocket J. Squirrel, and his pal, Bullwinkle the Moose.
Hi, glad to see you again.
Likewise.
We got some great things on the show today.
Like what? Like what?
Well, you ought to know, Bullwinkle. You're in some of them.
Well, let's get started.
Well, our heroes are all tangled up in another plot. This one has to do with a feud between the Hatfuls and the Floyds. They've been captured by the leader of one of the clans, Devil Dan Hatful,
who looks remarkably like Boris Bedinov.
The disguised Boris got a shock when a telephone call from fearless leader told him to keep our heroes safe and sound until he arrived. That's why we find the boys having lunch with their worst enemy.
Have some more chicken. Plenty more where that came from.
Yeah, where'd it come from?
From an egg.
No, from neighbor's chicken coop.
But a few thousand miles away from this love feast, fearless leader was preparing to make the trip to Peaceful Valley in the fastest way possible by rocket.
We mustn't leave Badenoff in charge too long. Fire one.
But, fearless leader, I think...
Don't think, just do what I tell you.
Well, you're the boss.
You're so right.
And in a moment, the sleek black missile was zooming skyward.
Professor, it was a successful shot.
Perfect. He's in orbit right now.
In orbit? But that means he can't get down.
It was true. The missile had gone into orbit and was circling the Earth at tremendous speed.
Professor, what were you thinking of?
Nothing. Fearless leader told me not to.
Come along.
But I obeyed the orders of fearless leader.
Congratulations. You will be the most loyal Pennsylvanian we ever executed.
But let's draw the curtain on this painful scene and return to Peaceful Valley, where Devil Dan is growing impatient.
Also whiskers.
If you'll excuse me a second, I got to go slap the hogs.
Gee, he's a peach.
I think he's a double-crossing crooked killer.
Yeah, but for a double-crossing crooked killer, he's a peach.
Meanwhile, in the other room...
Boris, why you're beating your head against the wall?
I'm not used to being nice to people. I got to hurt somebody.
But why yourself?
I was handy.
But at that moment, Boris heard a familiar voice.
Put me down for this contraption, or I'll have the head of every man, woman, and child in the country.
Natasha, did you hear what I heard?
I hope not. Bullwinkle, did you see what I saw?
No, my antlers don't fit through the window.
Come on outside, Bullwinkle. Here it comes again.
Yes, the missile containing Fearless Leader was orbiting over Peaceful Valley every few minutes.
Down from your head, will roll from border to border and coast to coast, and yours is going to be among the first.
Bullwinkle, that's an orbiting satellite.
Looks more like a feller in a rocket.
It was, and he's stuck up there. He'll keep going on forever.
Well, maybe he likes to travel.
Yeah, but he may starve up there.
Well, that's different. Let's get a big cannon.
You're not going to shoot him down.
Nope, I'm gonna shoot a chicken leg up to him.
What?
Sort of a guided drumstick.
Well, I got a better idea.
You usually do.
I'm going to fly up there and stop that missile.
That's a better idea.
Just a short distance away, in a cold, clammy duck blind...
Hush, something's coming over now, Clem.
I'll shoot it, Harlow.
Sure don't look much like a duck.
What do you mean?
Ain't got no wings, got no feathers, and it's 50 feet long.
But on t'other hand,
What?
it's the first thing that's flew over today.
You're right, Clem.
Where are you clumsy fools? I'll have you drawn and quartered.
You know something, Clem?
What's that, Harlow?
Didn't sound like a duck, neither.
Meanwhile, back at the shack...
Ready, Bullwinkle?
As ever.
Ellie!
Oop!
And the plucky squirrel hurtled high into the air just as the missile came into view once again. But Fearless Leader, thinking Rocky was an American anti-missile missile, began to unlimber a fearsome weapon.
Jawohl, this is my anti-missile.
Oh, boy, watch next time for Rocky Takes the High Road or Missile in the Thistle.
that jolly juggler, Bullwinkle.
Oh, dear.
3 at once. 1, 2,
And now here's a feature you're sure to like.
3.
This is the way the story of Little Fred Riding Hood begins. Little Fred Riding Hood lived in a little woods in a little house with his little mother. As a lad, it could not be said that he was good looking. Nor very smart, for he could only count up to 1.
1.
And he did that badly. But the one thing that could be said about Little Fred Riding Hood was that he had a beautiful voice and could sing like a bird. And one morning, his mother said to him,
Freddie, dear,
Yes, Ma?
if you don't stop that off-key singing around the house, I'm going to lay into you with this broom.
But, Ma, Granny spent a fortune giving me singing lessons.
Yes, I know she did, and I think it's high time we got even with her. Now, here, take this basket of sheet music and go through the woods to Granny's house. Sing to her for a change and see how she likes it.
And so, taking the basket, Little Fred Riding Hood skipped merrily off into the woods. Skipping is a very hard way to travel, and Fred was out of condition anyway, so a short time later, he stopped to rest.
I will take 5 by this hollow stump.
But no sooner did Fred sit down than he heard an awful commotion within that stump.
Oh, ow, ouch. Oh, my God. Ouch, ouch.
And there were 2 funny little men with high-pointed hats, and their long gray beards were tied firmly together.
What are you 2 doing in there?
We live in here.
But our beards have become tangled, and I fear we'll have to go through life looking each other in the eye.
Can you help us?
Well, being a good lad, Fred agreed to try.
Hold tight. I'll rip you apart.
Will it hurt?
Oh! Yes.
Bidding them farewell, Little Fred Riding Hood continued on his way to Granny's house.
Oh, he was a good boy. I think we ought to reward him for being so kind to us.
Good idea. Let's cast a spell that'll make him grow more handsome every minute.
And so they did, and so he did. For unknown to Fred, with every step he took, he became better looking, and better looking, until he was by far the handsomest man in the country.
Oh, what a handsome lad!
How good looking!
He's beautiful.
Hi, sweetie.
What's the matter? You all nuts or something?
But looking at his reflection in a meat market window, he saw that it was true. He was good looking.
Well, if that don't punch a hole in the boat.
The young ladies of the city were unable to control themselves at the sight of Little Fred Handsome Riding Hood, and the poor lad was mobbed.
You 2 funny little men are pretty funny. Now, come on, make me unhandsome so I can get to Granny's.
As this was his desire, they changed him back to plain old Fred.
That's better. Now, I'll give you my lunch of cookie sandwiches to keep you busy. No more tricks now.
And with that, Fred once more set off down the road for Granny's house.
Wasn't that sweet of him to give us his lunch?
It certainly was. Let's reward him.
He looks awful thin. Let's cast a spell that will fatten him up.
They did. And just as before, with every step Little Fred Riding Hood took, he grew fatter, and fatter, until he weighed over 700 pounds. Needless to say that when he stepped onto the high bridge that crossed the river, it collapsed with a roar.
They did it again.
And Fred waddled back to the hollow stump as fast as his obese little legs could carry him.
All right, you guys, knock it off.
He did get a little fatter than we figured.
So be it.
And Fred was returned to normal.
Why do you 2 keep casting spells onto me?
Because each time we've met, you have done a good deed for us.
And that is our way of rewarding you.
Some reward?
It was now growing quite late, and Fred hurried off down the road, but this time he ducked behind a large tree a short distance away and waited until he was sure the 2 funny little men were fast asleep.
I've got to do something to make them mad so they'll stop rewarding me, or I'll never get to Granny's.
Knowing that the little men were very proud of their long gray beards, Fred stole up to the hollow stump and, with a snip of his scout knife, he cut them off.
What happened?
Someone cut off our beards.
Who would do such a thing?
I would do such a thing, and I did. So long, fellas.
What a crazy kid, huh? What are you looking at?
You're a girl. What are you looking at?
You're a girl, too.
How do you like that? We're a couple of little witches.
And to think we'd never have known if that nice boy hadn't cut off our beards.
We should reward him.
That's a good idea. We'll cast a spell that will make a gold coin drop out of his mouth every time he opens it.
And they did, so that when little Fred Riding Hood finally reached Granny's house and opened his mouth to sing, instead of a lovely song, a gold coin dropped out of his mouth. Then another, and another, and another. And he paid off happily ever after, which you have probably already guessed is the way the story of little Fred Riding Hood ends.
Hi, poetry people. Today's poem is the saga of a singing waiter, Tommy Tucker. That's me. Little Tommy Tucker sings for his supper. What shall he have? Brown bread and butter. How shall he...
Waiter?
Sir?
How's the Irish stew tonight?
Oh, the taters are old and the meat is a fright. Everything is left over from Saturday night. We sweep it all up, put it into a pot, and tell you it's real Irish stew that we got.
What about the chicken liver?
Way down upon the Swanee River, far away, 2, 3, 4. There, they embalm our chicken liver, and that's what you get today.
Maybe I'll just have salad with Russian dressing.
Russian dressing! Tomatoes, beets, and ketchup. We used to make it red. Just put it on your salad, and you'll wish that you were dead. Hey!
Psst. Tommy Tucker, I got something for you.
What is it, boss? My brown bread and butter?
No, this.
How about that? 5 minutes on the job, and already I got a raise.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
But...
See? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Wrong hat.
And now it's time to meet Mr. Peabody.
Hello out there. Peabody, Sherman, and Wayback here.
He's Mr. Peabody.
He's Sherman, and if the Wayback could talk, it would tell you that it's the Wayback. Today, Sherman and I are going to explore the 5 senses.
You mean like taste, smell?
No, Sherman. The 5 senses as in nickel, specifically the Indian head nickel, and we shall be on hand to help in the engraving of the first coin of that kind.
The year?
1869.
The place?
The plains of Wyoming. We entered the Wayback Machine and were promptly transported to our destination, and there, standing behind his easel, stood the noted artist and engraver, Talbot Heffelfinger.
Hi, Mr. Heffelfinger. How's the Indian head coming?
See for yourself, son.
You can imagine our surprise when we saw an excellent likeness of Mahatma Gandhi.
That's wrong, Mr. Heffelfinger.
He's an Indian, isn't he?
Well, yes, but the wrong variety.
Look, I've been commissioned by the government to paint a picture of an Indian head, and so far the only one I've seen was a fella named Tonto who was on his way to Hollywood.
Mr. Peabody can find an Indian for you to paint, can't you, Mr. Peabody?
As usual, Sherman's faith in me was justified. We packed up Talbot Heffelfinger's equipment and adjourned to the nearest fort.
I'd like to help you, but there ain't no Injuns around here.
Oh, yes, there are, and I'll show you how we can meet one. I built a small fire, borrowed an army blanket, and proceeded to send a column of smoke into the sky.
I tell you, you're wasting your time.
I never waste my time. Suddenly, the silence of the vast plains was split with the cries of war whoops.
Indians! We're being attacked!
Indeed we were, but by one lone brave.
I don't get it. How'd you force that Injun into attacking us?
The smoke signal. There in the sky, directly over the fort, were the words, Custer won. I knew that would make any Indian mad. All right, Mr. Heffelfinger, go out and ask him to pose. Unfortunately, however, this was to be a still life portrait, and the Indian was anything but still.
I've got it. I've got it.
All he got was the tail end of the horse.
That isn't good enough?
Hardly.
Gee, Mr. Peabody, he'll never be able to paint with a horse running around like that. How can we get the horse to stop?
Well, that's simple, Sherman. Just say, whoa.
Whoa!
But although the horse desisted, the Indian didn't.
Too bad there isn't something to make a human stop.
Ah, but there is. In a matter of minutes, I had constructed a stoplight. Now, Mr. Heffelfinger, paint your subject. The highly elated artist threw himself into his work and 1 hour later returned with the finished product.
It's the best thing I've ever done.
It was quite good. That is, if you care for stoplights.
You didn't paint the Indian.
Indian?
There was no other course but to try it over again, but by this time the Indian had tired of the attack.
He's gone.
But not forgotten. Sure enough, there were moccasin prints leading off into the wilderness.
I think I'll just mail in the picture of Mahatma Gandhi and forget it.
I'm afraid that won't do, Talbot. With me leading the way, naturally, the hunt was on. Shortly before sundown, we reached an embankment overlooking an Indian village.
Indians! Hundreds and hundreds of Indians!
Please, Mr. Heffelfinger, restrain yourself, or you'll get us captured.
You same paleface who try paintin' my picture, you beginnin' to bug me.
Yes, but Chief, your picture will be on every nickel in the United States.
And in Canada, too.
Tell 'em you what. You beat 'em strongest warrior in village, you get 'em paint my picture.
I'll do it. Who is your strongest warrior?
Standing Bear.
He was standing all right, and he was a bear.
But I can't fight a real bear.
Of course you can, Talbot. Do as I say, and you're sure to win. And with that, the valiant artist entered into the fray. He was obviously outclassed.
What now, Peabody?
Make it 2 out of 3. Make it 3 out of 5. 5 out of 7. Now make it 75,000 out of 4,298,000.
I can't do it. I can't go on any longer.
You won't have to, sir. Look at your adversary.
He won, Mr. Peabody.
He didn't win me, Sherman. He won the fight. Curious thing about bears, after fighting 1 or 2 days, they seem to lose their stamina. Talbot Heffelfinger, on the other hand, was full of vim and vigor and proceeded to paint the head of the Indian chief.
He's a chief, Mr. Peabody?
Why, yes, the most famous of all the Hanka Indians. Don't tell me you've never heard of the Hankas.
Oh, I've heard of them all right, but I never heard of him.
You've never heard of Hanka Chief?
Well, last time, Bullwinkle had tossed Rocky high into the air in a desperate attempt to intercept the misguided missile which was carrying, of all people, fearless leader himself. But the evil-minded villain thought Rocky was an American anti-missile missile, and so began to assemble his secret weapon, an anti-missile missile.
Let's see. Put tab C in slot A, bend flap G. Donnerwetter, this is the last secret weapon I ever got out of a cereal box.
But the plucky squirrel, unaware of his danger, caught up with the speeding satellite and tried to slow it down.
Boris, that is our fearless leader up there.
You were expecting Werner von Braun?
Oh, I hope he gets done all right.
Me too, because if he doesn't get down, I'll be the fearless leader, and I... Oh, boy!
Boris, where are you going?
I got to stop that squirrel. He's ruining my career.
And Boris, anxious for promotion, dashed out of the house.
If I can just keep fearless leader orbiting from now on, I get to wear monocle.
High above, Rocky was pushing against the nose cone, trying to slow it down, but to no avail. And inside, fearless leader had finished assembling his anti-missile and was aiming it directly at the unwitting squirrel. Fortunately, at that moment, Rocky happened to spot an old lady far below him who was trying to cross the street. Of course, for a real live TV hero, helping old ladies across the street comes before anything else in the world. So Rocky left his post just as fearless leader pulled the trigger. Of course, he missed. But the recoil was enough to stop the forward motion of the satellite. And can any of you guess what that meant?
Any Pennsylvanian schoolchild could tell you, when the progressive inertial momentum of an orbiting vehicle is diminished, the gravitational declination increases as pi times the quantity v over h.
Which means?
I fall down.
And indeed, the missile dropped like a stone. Meanwhile, Rocky had just finished helping the old lady across the street.
Is this where you want to go, ma'am?
You said it. I mean, yes, indeed, you do the deedy, little fellow.
You sure got a deep voice for an old lady.
I know. I've been feeling low for days.
Oh, I'm sorry. You sure this is where you want to go?
Believe me, I'm in exactly the right spot.
And he was.
Hokey smoke!
We lose more old ladies that way.
But to Rocky's surprise, when the door of the wrecked satellite opened, who should come out but Devil Dan Hatful, followed closely by a sinister figure wearing a monocle.
Get I don't think that Dibble Dan is ever going to stop feuding. Maybe we ought to go see the head of the other family.
You mean Felonious Floyd?
Yeah, maybe he'll stop the feud.
Meanwhile, inside Devil Dan's shack,
So you were trying to get rid of me, eh, Badenoff?
Who, me, dear old boss man?
Stop drooling on my insteps, Badenoff.
Me trying to get rid of you, dear old chiefy boy? I wouldn't dream of such a thing.
Then take off that monocle. Now that I have arrived, we proceed with part 2 of my plan. You have Moose and Squirrel here?
Of course, fearless leader.
Where?
Right, ooh, they were here a second ago.
Boris, darling, there they go.
Quick, bring them back here, Badenoff. Dead or alive?
I got a choice.
and so it was that as our heroes were hurrying for the cabin of Felonious Floy, they suddenly heard an ominous sound.
Bullwinkle, those are bloodhounds. They picked up your scent. You know what that means?
It means I got a hole in my pocket.
And the great dogs came nearer and nearer, followed by Boris Badenov, who was loaded for bear.
Or moose, as the case may be.
Be sure to be with us next time for Dollars and Cents or Putting on the Dog.
Well, I guess that about wraps up another Rocky show.
Certainly hope you enjoyed it. I did. I always say,
Bullwinkle, time for us to go.
already? Okay, but first, here are some of the people who made this show impossible.
That's not all.
My fingers get tired. Oop! Got away from me again.
Well, see you next time. Ready, Bullwinkle?